Welcome. This video is on equations of vertical and horizontal lines. We'll first start talking about horizontal lines. The graph of a horizontal line has a slope of 0. So slope, in this case, of this horizontal line is 0. If it was increasing from left to right, it would be a positive slope. If it was decreasing from left to right, it would be a negative slope. But when it's a flat line, the slope is 0. The equation of any horizontal line is y equals b, where b is the y-intercept. If we had to write the equation of this line, let's see, where does it intersect the y-axis? That's what a y-intercept is. This is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. Where does it cross the y-axis? Well, it looks like it crosses at 2, so this line would actually be y equals 2 if we were to write it down. So, just to make sure we know this, if the graph of a horizontal line has a slope of 0, m is equal to 0 of a horizontal line. Moving on to a vertical line, the slope of a vertical line has a slope which is undefined. The equation of any vertical line is x equals a, where a is the x-intercept. X-intercept means where it intersects the x-axis. If this is the x-axis, where does it cross the x-axis? Looks like about -5. So the equation of this line would probably be x equals -5. Yeah, x equals -5. That's where it crosses. Okay, so just to make sure we remember this, because this will be useful in other equations a little bit later. The slope of a horizontal line is 0. The slope of a vertical line is undefined. Probably saying why? Why is it undefined? Why is the slope of a vertical line undefined, and why is the slope of a horizontal line 0? Let's look at some examples and see why. Here's our first one. Determine the slope of a line given the 2 points 3, 1 and 3, -2, and then graph the line. Okay, so let's first determine the slope. That's our first step. So we're going to find the slope of 3, 1, 3, -2. This is our x1, y1, x2, y2. Do you remember the formula for the slope given 2 points? Yeah, of course you do. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay. So in place of y2, -2, in place of y1, 1, in place of x2, 3, and in place of x1, 3 also. Work that out. And what do we get when 0 is in the denominator? Not 0. Right. We must write undefined. Whenever 0 is in the denominator, you cannot write 0. You must write undefined. Okay, so we have these 2 points, and we figured out our slope is undefined. Let's take a look at the graph of the line now. We'll go ahead and plot these points on this graph over here. 3, 1, and 3, -2. Let's see. Here's 3, 1, and here's 3, -2. And if we draw a line through these 2 points, oh, that's a little off, but yeah, there it is. It's a vertical line. So we could see that the slope of a vertical line is undefined because the difference of the x values is 0 here, and we end up with a 0 in the denominator, therefore it is undefined. Okay, so that goes back to the previous slide, that the slope of a vertical line is undefined. Alright. the slope of a vertical line is undefined. Let's go on to the next problem. -1, 4, and 3, 4. Okay. Determine the slope. So that's our first step. And you want to pause the video and go ahead and work it out to find the slope. Okay, let's get going. Write down the formula for slope. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We'll replace these numbers. 4 minus 4, the y is on top, x is on the bottom. 0 over 4. What is it equal to when we have 0 in the when we have 0 in the numerator this time? Yes, if 0 is in the numerator, it's 0. If 0 is in the denominator, like in the last problem, it's undefined. So this time we got 0. Okay, let's plot the points and then graph the line. Let's see what kind of line gives us a slope of 0. Okay, so -1, 4 is right here. 3, 4 is here. Draw a line through these 2 points. And there it is. It's a horizontal line. So the graph of a horizontal line has a slope of 0, just as we suspected. So just going back to that last problem, the slope of a vertical line is undefined. The slope of a horizontal line is 0. Okay, next example. We talked also about that the graph of a vertical line, the graph of x equals a is a vertical line passing through a comma 0. So a vertical line is always x equals a number, and the graph of a horizontal line is always y equals a number. The graph of y equals b is a horizontal line passing through 0b. I wrote up here that the graph of a linear equation with one of the variables missing is either horizontal or vertical. So if you only see one variable, either x or y, but not both, then it's either a vertical or horizontal line. So if you have 2x plus 3y equals 6, that is neither a horizontal or a vertical line because both variables are present. So if you only have one letter, it's either vertical or horizontal. Alright, let's graph this equation. X equals -4. Okay, well, x equals -4 is a vertical line that intercepts the x-axis at x equals -4. So find -4 on the x-axis. Go to x equals -4, which is right here, and then draw a vertical line. And that's it. Here's our next graph. Y equals 2. Y equals 2 is a horizontal line that intercepts the y-axis at y equals 2. So go to the y-axis, go to 2, put a point, and then draw a horizontal line. So there's a graph of y equals 2. Next example. Write the equation of the line that contains the indicated pair of points. So here's 2 points, 2, 1, and 2, -3. Well, let's find the slope. That's what usually we do. And maybe we'll look at a shortcut after this, but let's find the slope of the line that contains these 2 points. Well, the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. X is always the first value, y is always the second value. So working that out, well, we have 0 in the denominator. And again, what is it called when 0 is in the denominator? Right, undefined. Definitely not 0. Undefined. What kind of line has a slope that's undefined? Yes, a vertical line. So we're going to write the equation. I asked again, what type of line has a slope that's undefined? And we already said the slope of a vertical line is undefined. What's the slope of a horizontal line? 0, right, but the slope of a vertical line is undefined. These are the kind of things that you might consider making note cards for, so that it becomes automatic that you know these pieces of information. Okay, so we know it's a vertical line. The equation of a vertical line is always x equals a, where a is the x-intercept. Well, if we plot these points, 2, 1, and here's 2, negative 3, and draw a line through those points, where does it intersect the x-axis? Yeah, at x equals 2. Now the shortcut for that is looking at the 2 points. What can you notice about that? The answer is x equals 2, and look at the x values. They're both 2, right? So whenever you have 2 points and the x value is the same, it has to be a vertical line going through that x value. So if this was 5, 1 and 5, negative 3, the answer would have been x equals 5. The x values are the same, it will always be x equals that value. Okay, so you didn't have to do all this work, but we went through it anyways, just to look at what the slope was, that it's consistent with a vertical line. The slope of a vertical line, again, is undefined. So it must be x equals a number, and that number is wherever it crosses the x-axis. Let's look at another example. Write the equation of the line that contains the indicated pair of points, 5, negative 3, and 1, negative 3. Let's do the same thing. Find the slope. You might want to pause and then go ahead and work it out. Okay, so putting in our values, here's 2 negatives, negative 3 minus another negative 3, that turns into a plus. So we end up with 0 in the numerator. And if you have 0 in the numerator, it is equal to 0. Now we can write the equation. What type of line has a slope that is 0? The slope of a horizontal line is 0. Slope of a horizontal line is 0. Slope of a vertical line is undefined. Horizontal is 0. Okay, so we also know that the equation of a horizontal line is always y equals b, where b is the y-intercept. So wherever it crosses the y-axis, it's going to be y equals that number. Let's plot these points. It looks like it's off a little bit. 5, negative 3. It's like kind of messed up with that one. Anyways, should be about right here. That's 4, negative 3, and 5, negative 3, but it should be right here, 5, negative 3. You can still see that the slope of a the line that goes through these 2 points is going to be a horizontal line. And where does it cross the y-axis? Right, at y equals -3. Looking back at the points, could you have seen that y equals -3 is the answer from these 2 points? Yes, because the y values match. If you have the same y values, it must mean that it's a horizontal line, and the answer will be that number, so y equals -3. So this work was unnecessary, now that we know that little shortcut, but it was good because we wanted to see that it is true that the slope of a horizontal line is 0, and the equation of a horizontal line has to be y equals that number, wherever it goes through on the y-axis. Let's do 2 more examples. Write the equation of the line that contains the indicated pair of points, 2, 7, and 2, -5. Let's not go through all that work again. What is the answer to this one? Which value matches? Is it the x or is it the y? Right, it's the x, and that would be x equals 2. So the next one, 4, -8, and 7, -8. What's the equation? Right, y equals -8. Okay, that's the end of this lesson, and I'll see you here for the next one.